guess I always felt that I had something to say. And my first journalistic experience, I think, was when I was at First United Methodist Church in Stillwater, and for some reason, I must have been in 7th grade, something like that. I just took it upon myself to create a little church newspaper. And I would choose a poem, and I would just, put in whatever I wanted. And somehow I had access to the church mimeograph machine, and that's what I did. It seems a little odd to me now, but that is the historical truth. And then I was not at all involved in high school journalism. I was very, very involved in music and academics, I would say. And then I was just just an avid reader. I would just find lists of books and make my way through them. And I was always very, very interested in history. So I think that as a writer, I often tell people I'm where, history and journalism converge. I was the director of the Committee to Protect Journalists, and we worked with some really extraordinary journalists there. And in fact, our first chairman when I started was Walter Cronkite. So, when you sit at the knee of the master, that was really something. And so there were various people from what I consider the golden age of television news who were involved, as well as people from magazines and newspapers. I also taught at the Columbia Graduate School of Journalism, and there were some people that I worked with who were really extraordinary. One of them was James Carey, and he was known as kind of the philosopher of journalism, and talked a lot about the role of journalism in the public square. When you have a vibrant local journalism, it means that you have the wire services that contribute most of the national and international news, you have State House reporting, and you have local reporting. And I try to explain to people that the reason most subscribers would get a local newspaper was, for the obituaries and the high school sports scores, but they would absorb news by osmosis. And that meant that you were in a country where people were working from pretty much the same set of facts. I just have to acknowledge the role that Stillwater Public Schools played in my life. And in many of my books, I specifically cite Charles Chesmore, who was the English teacher. And teaching was his second career. He had been an Army Air Corps colonel, and he had flown missions in World War II, shot down several times. But those of us who braved his courses benefited so much from him. And I ended up just taking every single course he taught that I had access to. I had other tremendous teachers. Steve Mason, who ran the vocal music program, was another big influence. But they weren't all superb, I will say that. But the ones who were shaped me, and I've gone out of my way to thank them. And whenever my writing, such as my play The Guys, is used in a high school curriculum, I'm even more grateful, because that's when you reach young minds.